Hey everybody, welcome to video number 5 in the MS Teams tutorial series with Mr. Stacy. Today we're talking about the class notebook. You can see right now I've got our Microsoft Teams open in our web browser. Remember, if you're using a Chromebook, don't use the built-in Android app for Teams or OneNote. You should be using the browser, it works better. So I'm in the browser. All the stuff I'm going to do now can also work within the application that is downloaded. So this is my downloaded and installed Microsoft Teams. I'm going to stay within the web browser. Let's go to Physics First Hour. We're going to our class notebook, so you can see that it's up here at the top, along with these other tabs. Click on the notebook, and it's going to start to load within the Teams application. A couple things you can do right off the bat. You can click this button up here to expand the notebook. That gives me a little more space. When I click into this content area, I can start to type, insert images, do a whole lot of stuff. Over here I have this arrow that when I click on it will expand the sections and pages of the notebook and allow me to browse throughout the notebook. For students, you're just going to have these first few sections up top as well as your personal notebook. As a teacher, I can see everything. Instead of just loading the notebook inside of the Teams application on this web page, you can also open it in the browser, or you can open it in the built-in app on your computer. If you're using a Chromebook, you're going to want to use the browser. If you have the application installed on your personal device, like a Windows OS system or Mac OS, you could open it in there. I'm just going to open it in the browser for now. Both have really good functionality. Notice that it tells me the notebook that I'm in up here at my tab at the top. And I get my sections of my notebook, pages, and the content page you were just seeing over here back in the Teams app. The first thing that we want to look at is how to zoom in and zoom out on this web page. Sometimes you're going to want to make your notes look larger so you can zoom them in, or zoom out so you can see the bigger picture. Remember that in your web browser you can use Control+ or Control- to zoom in or zoom out. If I also need room, I can click and drag on these bars right here to increase the space in this left-hand navigation tab so I can read all the words, or close it back up a little bit if I want more space in the content area. You can do the same thing with this tab over here. The first section that pops up is this Welcome section. This entire left-hand tab is called the Sections tab. And I can add new sections by clicking the plus section button at the bottom. To make a new section, I can right-click on it, and I could rename it to something else. Maybe, I don't know, Notes. Within this Notes section, in orange, I have pages available in the Pages tab. It starts just with one page that's called Untitled. So maybe I call this Untitled page Chapter 1 or Unit 1. Maybe I'll want to organize and separate my notes by chapters or units or topics, whatever you want to do. I can add more pages by clicking the plus page button at the bottom. Let's say within Chapter 1 there are a few sections. Maybe there's section 1.1. I don't know. And then maybe there's another section 1.2. Section 1.1 and 1.2 are going to be part of Chapter 1, or part of Unit 1. So maybe I can make these a little more organized by right-clicking and making each one a subpage of Chapter 1. This makes it a little easier to keep track of what's part of what. Similarly, I could go into Chapter 2. Maybe I make a section 2.1, or organize it by topic or unit. If it's part of Chapter 2, I could make it a subpage. And again, just a way to keep it organized. Notice that I can move around sections by clicking and dragging, or I could move around a page just by clicking and dragging. Let's try to move section 1.2 above section 1.1. Now section 1.2 is above it. I could also click and drag my sections and move those around. If I want to copy or paste or move a section or a page, all I have to do is click on the page, for instance. Let's click on section 2.1. Let's type some stuff in it. I can right-click on this page entitled section 2.1 and copy. Or I could use the move/copy function. I'm just going to copy it. Let's go down to now page chapter 3. I right-click, paste. Section 2.1 has now been copied and pasted under my chapter 3. And notice all the stuff that I put into that page is still there. If I want to delete it, I can right-click. Delete page. If I want to delete multiple pages or multiple sections, be careful, I could click and then Control-click on all the other ones. That means I'm holding Control and clicking. Or maybe only delete certain ones that are highlighted. Right-click on any of the highlighted pages or sections. Delete. And the ones that I highlighted are gone. Let's look at the sections that are actually in our class notebook already. I'll expand this navigation bar that shows us the sections. When you're a student, you're only going to see the first few sections up here, and then your own personal notebook section. As a teacher, I can see all of the students' personal notebook sections, which is a good way for us to share information and me to comment on your work. Notice that there's a collaboration space here. This is actually a section group that's made up of more sections. We can add new sections to our collaboration space. For instance, I could make one Group 1. A collaboration space section is basically a section where anybody can view and edit the pages and the sections within it at the same time. Think of a Google Doc that everybody's invited to, and they can all edit, read, copy, paste in that one document. We have the options to add more pages in here. You could make more pages for different days, different units, different topics. This is a place for students to collaborate in the collaboration space if you like. Then we have the content library. This is also a section group, meaning it's made up of lots of other sections. The first one is using the content library. You don't need to read that. The next one is Unit 0 in this Physics First Hour class, Intro to the Course. That's my section, and these are the pages underneath that section. I have the course description or syllabus where I just inserted the PDF of that document. I have YouTube links for the YouTube videos on the Microsoft Teams tutorials, and I have the agenda from yesterday, Tuesday the 11th. So in case somebody misses the video, they can come back and find the agenda and see what went on. I also have another section, Unit 1 Graphing, and this is where all of our content is going to appear in the course, within the content library, separated by unit. Within each unit, and this goes for physical science as well, there'll be a section about notes, videos, and demonstrations. I might tell you what's in here, just notes for this unit, and you can see the notes subpages right there. You can click on it, and you'll see all the notes that I've provided for that particular unit. At the top, I tell you kind of what the notes are going to be about, and then you have the rest of the notes that you can scroll through. Remember to take advantage of the Control plus and Control minus function to zoom in or zoom out, depending on what you need. Also remember to collapse these tabs over here by clicking on these guys and adjusting them to your preference. Other than the notes, videos, and demonstration pages, we have the interactives and online problems. In this one, I give a description on the main page of what the interactives and problems are, how you should use them, how they're useful. In this unit, you can see I only have 3 subpages. A page on online graphing applications, a page on this particular interactive. This has a link that you can click, and it will open the interactive or online problem, where you can click Begin or Start, whatever it says, so that you can start doing the interactive. I also have a screenshot just to show you what it's about. Here's another interactive with another link and another screenshot for what it's about. After you finish an interactive or online problem, it's good to take a screenshot. At the end of this video, we'll come back and talk about different ways to do screen grabs and screenshots. Let's say I go to the content library and decide to complete this interactive or online problem. I click on the link, I start the interactive, I do the work, you can put in your name. Maybe my answer is 2.5 and the y-intercept is 9. I don't know. Submit it. Some of these interactives will tell me if I did a good job or not. My random guess was not a good answer. Well, if you do a good job and you complete the interactive successfully, you can take a screenshot and show evidence of your completion. That's a good thing to put into your student notebook. Lets me know what you've been working on, what you need help with, and a good thing for you to review if you need to do that. So I just took a screenshot of my completed interactive. Let's pretend I did a good job. I could go to my personal student notebook and go to the interactives and online problems section that I've already made for you. You probably want to keep these organized by unit, so let's make a page called Unit 1 Graphing. There are a few different interactives for this unit, in particular 2. So I'll make one page that's going to be about the one I just did. I just did the equation of a linear graph interactive. So maybe I'll title it that. Equation of linear graph interactive. It's part of Unit 1, so maybe I'll make it a subpage. Now I can just Control-V paste my screenshot in that shows evidence that I completed that work. Remember, you're not getting points for doing each of these interactives or practice problems. It's up to you what you want to work on. The only grades are going to come from the assessment questions and lab reports at the end of the week. But doing these other activities, whichever ones you choose to do, are going to help you prepare for that and are going to help you learn the physics or the physical science, whichever class you're in. Notice I can easily resize the image just by clicking on it. And I can also type and do other stuff around this image if I wanted to take extra notes on it. That was the equation of linear graph interactive. There's another one here, data generator for learning to graph. Maybe I'll do that one next. I can call it just data generator interactive. And when I finish it successfully, take a screenshot, I can insert it in here and add any other notes that I want to do. Same thing goes for practice problems. When you complete a practice problem, you might want to make your first page Unit 1 graphing, or whatever the unit is. I'm going to label our problems as problem and the number. So maybe we have 3 problems for this one. So I can make those pages. They're part of Unit 1, so I probably want to make these sub-pages underneath it to keep everything organized. Because next unit, we're going to have Unit 2. Whatever that's going to be titled. And that's going to be a new unit, so maybe I promote that page to keep things organized. We'll have some practice problems in there with our Unit 2. And again, they're going to be problems 1, 2, 3, etc. So maybe make the problems a subpage. You can see how this is going to start to keep things organized and easy to review, especially if you're going to go back and do reassessments from previous units. Let's go back to the content library. For Unit 1 graphing, we looked at our interactives, different type of interactives we can do. We can take screenshots and put them in our personal notebook when we've successfully completed that interactive. Practice problems. Here's problem 1. Maybe I complete this problem on paper, take a picture with my phone, then I can go to my personal notebook, practice problems. Here we're in Unit 1 graphing. That was problem number 1. I can click in the content area and go to Insert, Picture, and put in my picture of how I solved that problem. This is a good way for you to put in your work so that I can see what you've been working on. And if you have trouble, you could say, Mr. Stacy, I've had trouble on Unit 1 graphing, problem number 1. Can you take a look at it? And then go straight to your personal notebook, see what you were doing, and annotate or commentate right here in the page. That'll automatically update, and that can help you out. We also have labs and lab report guidelines for when we get to those, and the exact guidelines for what the assessment questions are going to be about. In this one for first hour physics, I have a general description of what the rubric looks like. Remember to use that Control+ and Control- to zoom in and out. I have subpages that indicate what I expect your paper to look like when you submit it. I have the baseline component, which is one component of the rubric, tells you exactly what I'm looking for. The visual component of the rubric, which tells you exactly what I'm looking for. The quantitative or math component of the rubric and what I'm looking for. And the qualitative component and what I'm looking for. We'll always have all of these sections so that you know exactly what I'm looking for the assessment question for that unit, exactly what I'm looking for in the labs and the lab report and the lab reports, exactly what I'm looking for when you do practice problems, and so that you can share them with me, and the interactives that you can practice in order to better learn what we're talking about in this unit. Of course, we'll always start with the notes, videos, and demonstrations when we introduce a new topic. Make sure you take the time to look at the different tabs at the top. I have File, Home, Insert, etc. The View function has a way to change the navigation pages. I could hide all of them and make them pop all back out. I could say, I just want to see pages only, or I want to see sections and pages. That's up to you. There's also the Immersive Reader. When I click on the Immersive Reader, it's going to load a page that's going to allow me to listen to the computer reading everything that's typed on the page, whether it's plain language or mathematical equations. Here we have the letters and sentences more spaced out. I can click the play button, and it will read it to me while highlighting each word. The last thing we want to mention in this video is about screen grabbing and taking screenshots. If you want to take a screenshot in a Google Chromebook, you need to use the Control and the Switch Display button. Control plus Switch Display, and that will take a full screenshot that should be saved into your Downloads folder. If you're not sure exactly where to find that, or exactly how to do that, Google how to take a screenshot with a Chromebook, and you should have a step-by-step guide to help you do it. If you're using a Windows 10 computer, you can hold down the Windows key and also hold down the Shift key and then press the S key. When you do that, the screen will slightly darken, and you'll have the option up here to take an orthogonal or rectangular snip, a freeform snip, a window snip, or the full screen. I usually just stick with this rectangular snip. I took the snip. Now it's copied to the clipboard. I can go to wherever I want to put it. Let's put it in section 2.1. Click on the content area, and then use Control V to paste, and it'll insert that screenshot. Once the image is pasted in, I can click on the image and resize it, crop it, all that stuff. You can also right-click inside the content area and then click Paste. Is another way to paste it in. If you're using an older version of Windows like Windows 7, you can search into your programs for something called the snip tool, which is basically the same thing as what I just did. If you're using a Mac or Apple device, I have no idea, you're going to have to Google that, but I'm sure you can do the same stuff. Well, that's it for this video number 5 on the class notebook. I hope that was helpful. Make sure you check out all the little options you can do inside of the notebook, and keep an eye on the content library because that's where all of our content is going to show up. Make sure you go to the unit that we are on currently. That's going to be Unit 1 at this point, and you will slowly see different things like new notes pop up, new interactives, or new problems, and make sure you definitely review the assessment question guidelines of what's going to be expected every Friday when we do one assessment question. When we get to doing labs, make sure you're checking out the labs and lab report guidelines. Labs are going to be filmed or virtual labs that you conduct on your computer, and the lab guidelines will be similar to the assessment question guidelines, so you know exactly what I'm looking for in those assessments. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time.